So, you know how the US has been trying really hard to stop China from getting better at making chips, like blocking tools, blocking machines, blocking everything they possibly can? Well, China just said, okay, fine, we'll figure it out ourselves. And not in a small way, in a massive way. Let me break this down for you. There's a Chinese company called YMTC, full name Yangtze Memory Technologies, and if you've never heard of them, that's kind of the point. They've been quietly growing in the background while Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron have been hogging all the spotlight. But YMTC, they're about to make some serious noise. Here's what's happening. Right now, YMTC can produce around 200,000 wafers every single month. Now, if you're wondering what a wafer is, think of it like a big round disk where all your chips are actually born. Every chip in your phone, your laptop, your SSD, it starts life on one of those disks. So 200,000 of those a month is already pretty significant. But YMTC just said, that's not enough. We want more. They're building 3 brand new factories. 3. Each one pumping out 100,000 wafers per month. So when all 3 are running at full speed, that's an extra 300,000 wafers a month on top of what they already have. We're talking about going from 200,000 to 400,000 wafers per month. They're literally doubling their entire production capacity. And one of these new factories is already being finished this year. This isn't some far-off dream. This is happening right now. But here's the part that honestly surprised me the most. When they built the latest factory, more than 50% of all the equipment and materials used inside it came from Chinese suppliers. Like, they didn't wait around for American or European companies to sell them the tools, they just built their own supply chain. That's a huge deal, because one of the whole points of the US restrictions was to cut China off from the stuff it needs to build these factories in the first place, and YMTC is literally working around that. Now, let's talk about what they're actually going to make in these new fabs, because it's not just one type of chip. The main thing YMTC is known for is NAND flash memory. That's the kind of storage that goes in your SSDs, your USB drives, your phones. And right now, YMTC holds about 11.8% of the global NAND market. That doesn't sound huge, but think about who's above them. Samsung, SK Hynix, Kioxia, Micron, these are massive, decades-old companies, and YMTC is already nipping at their heels. With this extra capacity, analysts think YMTC could push past 14% market share. That would put them basically neck and neck with SK Hynix and Micron, a Chinese company operating under heavy US sanctions sitting at the same table as the world's biggest memory makers. Wild, right? But wait, there's more, because these new factories aren't just going to make NAND, they're also going to make DRAM. Now, DRAM is a different type of memory. It's the fast, short-term memory your devices use while they're actually running tasks, your RAM, basically. And this is a market that China has historically been really behind in, but YMTC has already sent out sample chips, specifically LPDDR chips, which is the low-power version used in phones and tablets, to clients, and they're waiting on feedback. And it's not just YMTC doing this stuff. There's another Chinese company called CXMT that's reportedly working on 3D DRAM. So the whole Chinese chip industry is basically leveling up at the same time across multiple fronts. So let's zoom out and look at the big picture for a second. The US has been tightening restrictions. They blocked advanced chip equipment. They just recently moved to restrict ASML, that's the Dutch company that makes some of the most critical machines in chip manufacturing, from exporting certain machines to China. The goal is clear: slow China down, keep them from catching up. But what we're seeing with YMTC is that the strategy might be having the opposite effect in some ways. Instead of slowing down, China is being forced to build its own version of everything, its own tools, its own supply chains, its own fabs. And the more they're pushed to do that, the less dependent they become on the outside world in the long run. Is YMTC making cutting-edge chips right now? No, they're still behind the best stuff coming out of TSMC or Samsung. But are they getting better, faster, and bigger? Absolutely yes. And 3 new factories, doubling their wafer output, is not a small move. That's a statement. That's YMTC saying, we're not going anywhere, we're not slowing down, and we're coming for market share whether you like it or not. The chip war is very much still on, and it just got a lot more interesting.